Well, I'm down here in the meatpacking district, Lower Manhattan, having just left the Sony Global Press event announcing the A6300 and three new G-Master lenses, the 24-70mm 2.8, the 85mm 1.4, and the 70-200 2.8. Let's go take a look, get out of the rain. An internal 4K recording compact camera like this with 120 frames per second covering almost the entire sensor, an extra stop of low light sensitivity, 14 stop dynamic range with S-Log3, which, okay, I'm one of those people who would rather just capture it straight out of the camera, but many of you are not like that. Reinforced lens mount, a mic line input, for $1,000? Yeah, that's right. I'm smelling the smoke coming out of my wallet. I can feel the spontaneous ignition of the credit cards in my wallet because I'm probably going to get one. Sony has established what are known as BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. They're not content to be dominant in the sensor space. They are now looking to build unparalleled optics as well. They made a big point of a baseline of 50 line pairs per millimeter resolution. With the 2.8, they're very clear about what the market is telling them. Yes, there has to be bokeh. And the 85mm 1.4, which is a big hairy lens, is fascinating because they're willing to put that into an already crowded field of their own Sony 90mm f2.8 macro, the Zeiss Batis 1.8, the Milvis 85mm 100mm. I mean, this is very, very interesting. Let's assume for a moment that Sony achieves resolution parity, just resolution parity, with the legendary Canon L-glass at which it's directly aimed. Even though, again, Sony's ambition appears to be higher. The thing that's so unusual is that Sony appears to have cracked the code on the next generation autofocus motors, because the lenses that I tried yesterday, the 85mm 1.4 and the 24-70 2.8, were fast and silent. These motors were moving big glass, and this makes them one generation beyond Canon's current offerings, because there's a reason you don't see STM, fast silent autofocus technology, on Canon's big glass. It's because the STM technology is not appropriate to it. It can't do the heavy lifting. It can't move the glass, that big glass, that quickly. Back in 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple. And if you Google or just look on YouTube, you will find the video of him talking to Apple staffers about their about-to-be-released Think Different advertising campaign. And in the course of that video, you will see that Jobs says Apple has one of the best brands in the world, one of the top 6 or 7. And he compared that to Nike, Coca-Cola, and Sony. Sony is very clear now, clearer than I have ever seen, about what their mission is in the imaging business. They call it Condo, which is emotional engagement, fulfilling one's curiosity. That really hit me very hard, and it may not for you, which is fine. Here's the thing. Their ambition to do that is predicated on profound technical competence. If Sony is able to appeal to the emotions and do it seamlessly, which it cannot yet do technically, there are still issues with the menus and the ergonomics. They're not awesome. I mean, they're not. But I think they're going to get there. And when they do, they really will be the Apple of the imaging business. Of course, that's pretty funny, isn't it? Because Apple has its own imaging business. And in fact, I'm recording this on a Sony sensor, which just happens to be in an iPhone 6s Plus.